Hey guys, turkey season is in full swing right now, and if you are planning on getting after it, make sure to pick up some Meat Eater Phelps turkey calls to stuff into the old turkey vest or into your fanny pack right now. I carry a few different things. I like to use mouth calls, and I like to use pot calls. Mouth calls or diaphragms, I like them because it gives you hand-free calling, meaning when you're working a bird up close, you can have your gun on your knee, finger on the trigger, ready to roll, and still be making turkey sounds. I like pot calls because I just like pot calls. I enjoy calling with a pot call. Whatever direction you go, including a box call, which I don't personally use too much, but they're fun and great, and I started out with them. Yanni, on the other hand, one of my main turkey hunting buddies, he loves box calls. And what's funny is I'll now and then look to him and give him the look that means get out your box call and find us a turkey. So it's not that I don't like him. I just have Yanni use his. Then I don't have to carry it. Go to Phelps Game Calls. Get calls that are made in the USA and get calls that'll get them close. Find yours at phelpsgamecalls.com today.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Tyler.
And you're listening to
The Element Podcast.
Road Trips Edition. Yeah, guys.
Yo. Yeah,
Mad Mike can't handle it. He don't understand. You know, Michael, love him to death.
No.
He's still in that portion of his life where he thinks that appearance matters, you know. And I don't mean like his looks.
Doesn't.
He thinks that like the way you carry yourself matters.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. That's
I mean,
actually
appearance. You can tell he thinks his physical appearance matters. He's wearing a First Light Kiln hoodie right now.
It's
just
only
on
87.
a road trip.
Let's go,
It's
dude.
87 degrees.
That's
and
how
he's
you know
wearing-
this podcast is brought to you by First Light.
That's right, man.
Michael will not take it off. No.
Come on now.
Y'all know that? Y'all ever hear that? There was a song, one-hit wonder band called the Donnas. It was all females. And it had this song called Take It Off.
I
You
thought,
heard this
I
song?
thought that was Madonna.
No, that was the Donnas.
Oh.
She had more than one
They were
hit.
way cooler.
You're Donna?
No. I don't know what Donna. That's
Eric's here too, by the way.
Donatello.
What's up, brother?
Eric got no cebollas on his quesadilla a while ago.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Is that the onions?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're better than McDonald's onions.
What were you gonna do? So
He was just going
we
to say nothing but meat.
We stopped
That's what he was
at
gonna
our
say.
favorite, one of our favorite. I think it's kind of like one bite. Everybody knows the rules, right? They point away, but like we say, every Mexican restaurant's our favorite Mexican restaurant. We stopped at our favorite Mexican restaurant on a road trip today, and our good friend Eric had the boldness to go first. Man, he stepped up and said, "I know what I want."
And somehow, the little chica behind the bar didn't know, the counter didn't know that this redheaded guy, when speaking Illinois,
But it was Spanglish.
might not know that all the Spanish words.
Like
you know what I mean?
she spoke great English and
Yeah.
didn't really even have an accent when she spoke English.
Yeah.
But she just said cebolla instead of onion.
But I thought she said. Did she say what'd she say? Cilantro, cebolla, and something else.
Cheese.
She said cheese.
I think so.
I thought she said another Spanish word there.
I think cilantro might have been where you get
That's-
me. It
yeah,
kind of
that's-
sounded.
Yeah, that's an
Which is-
Asian word, isn't it?
No.
Cilantro is the or is the Mexican form of what
Coriander.
was coriander, which is an Asian ingredient, right?
Potentially.
Originally.
I mean, I know that it's in Asian food.
I think it
originally.
comes from like Russia or Asia or something like that.
Yeah, Russia is in Asia. There you go.
Asia.
Asia. Eurasian.
Eurasia. Pandemonia or whatever it's called. What's the full all the earth being in one?
Pangea.
Yeah, Pangea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Pre-flood. The pre-flood world. Is that what you're
Well,
talking about?
That's what I would think the people that subscribe to Pangea actually don't think about the flood
They
too much.
probably don't. But Eric ordered a pollo quesadilla. But
right.
they were out
Did you
of
say
pollo.
pollo?
No.
No.
Okay.
But she said they were out of pollo.
Because I was like, oh, well, then he deserved that.
That
Cebolla.
said,
Said, oh, can I have some chicken?
Hey,
I didn't want any grease, but ended up still getting grease.
Dang, dude, grease
dang,
lightning.
dude, grease lightning over here. Danny Zuko.
Hey.
Who's your Sandy, Eric?
My Sandy?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Gordita,
I don't know
gordita.
at all what's being talked about right now.
Gordita.
Yeah, that's about 40 years your elder right
no,
there. I'd
40 years
imagine.
my elder.
No, dude.
70 years his elder.
No, Grease came out like in 82 or something like that.
I don't
Maybe
know.
88.
Dude, I didn't even watch Grease, man.
I loved
it. It was
it.
way before my time.
Grease 2 was terrible. Don't watch that. Grease 1, the original Grease, is good.
You talking about Grease Busters too?
Yeah. I never watched that movie. Did you know that? I've never watched any of the Ghostbusters.
I don't think I have either.
We're on a road trip to go turkey hunting.
All these deer hunters are
However,
like, oh,
we're
gosh.
just
Can
after
we please get some
a
deer
road
hunting
trip
content?
of turkey hunting. We're going to have some deer hunting content. In fact, we're talking about doing a Q&A. It's always a good time to do a Q&A about deer hunting.
For sure.
But I think we're going to do some topical top podcasts where we cover some deer hunting tactics and some things that maybe we've learned.
If you have somebody that you'd like to see us talk to on the podcast, send us a message on Instagram or Facebook, or you can even go to our website, I think.
Yeah.
Is it still running?
I don't know.
I think it's still
Send
there.
us an email at theelement@themeateater.com. That's what you should do.
Lots of these.
Yeah, lots of. And people, when I say "the" on the phone, they don't have a clue what I'm saying. "The"? No, "the."
I know, dude. It's
the?
the worst.
No,
I tell
the.
people when I book hotels, I say, "Can I just tell you my email when I get there, please?" They're like, "I'm gonna send you a confirmation through your email." I'm like, "I'll tell you when I get there, promise." But let's just not do this right now.
Yeah. So we're headed turkey hunting, but our compadres just returned from a turkey hunt quest adventure.
It was definitely an adventure.
I
that's
believe
for sure.
for one of you, it was your first time in
Turkey
the state. We can tell the state on this one, right?
Sure.
Where'd
Yeah.
you go, Michael?
Went to Iowa, the land of giant everything.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they say everything's bigger in Texas, but when we saw those deer for the first time, they look like moose out in the field.
You ever seen a largemouth bass in Iowa?
No, I haven't.
There's
it's
the
turkey
reason.
season.
There's
It's
the
turkey
reason.
season.
It's
We're
the
not
size
talking
of
about
that
bass.
Coke bottle right there. Call it ditch pickle.
It might be smaller.
In Texas, we got ditch watermelons.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I threw
Hey, I saw you planted some. Did you plant watermelons
I
the other
did.
day?
Yeah, I planted.
Where'd y'all plant them?
1,000
Secret
watermelons.
stash over there.
And we were between Quitman and Winsboro.
Is it family property?
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know y'all had all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, my mom's family lives off over that way, and that's my first cousin and her husband. They've got about 20 acres over there. We planted some watermelons on about 2 or 3 of it. What?
I just don't need to say some things that I think.
And
First husband. That's what came to my mind.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But why do I need to say it?
Yes.
I don't have to say it.
the all Jubilees, which is the superior watermelon.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about size, taste, texture, everything put together, a Jubilee is just impossible to beat.
What about them yellow flesh?
They're good, but
Star
their
lemons or
size usually
melons?
kind of small. I planted 26 of those in my garden.
Are you
Yesterday.
selling the? Are you planting these to sell?
Yes, not the yellows or oranges that I planted
Right.
yesterday, but the Jubilees will be on sale, or for sale, not on sale, as they say.
Yeah.
It's really kind of my dad's venture more than mine. I'm just kind of helping. It's the thing. My family has done watermelon farming for a large portion of my life, and before that, my grandparents owned a little country store in Como, Texas, where Pop raised a bunch of vegetables, and then sold gas station stuff. But they also had like a butcher shop in there and some other things, and he would bring in the vegetables they raised and sell them in there, and so he sold watermelons in there quite a bit. But yeah, it's kind of a family thing that we've always done. And right now in Zone 8A, it is time to plant melons. So get your melons in the ground if you're down here.
I feel like it's a good way for me to kill some melons.
If you're above Zone 7A, don't even try, because they don't do well. It's a hot weather crop. Michael's probably never tasted a watermelon.
I've tasted watermelon. Get out of here.
Oh, it's so
You
good.
had seedless watermelons, which are an abomination, in case y'all were
No,
wondering.
they are good, dude.
Watermelons
Come
are
on now.
made to have seeds. And
Any
if you're eating a
watermelon's
seedless
good.
watermelon, that just ain't right. That's
See,
why kids are confused nowadays.
This is no.
That's
that
why.
ain't it.
That's
That
it.
ain't
That's exactly
listen, Listen, this is like beans and chili, man. I don't get it.
why. No. It's nothing like beans
It
and chili.
is.
Those are all ingredients. You're taking out something that's supposed to be there. You're not supposed to do that.
Well, some would say beans are supposed to be there.
Yeah, I like beans in my chili.
Me too, but some
I like
people
chili without
don't.
beans. But those are all ingredients. It's not like the chili was made by God to have the beans in it.
When's the first record of chili?
I don't know.
We should look.
That'd be interesting. I kind of wonder how chili came
It
to
has
be.
to be after Genesis 3, right?
Yeah, I'd imagine. Actually, it might be after Genesis 9. Because I believe man is still a vegetarian until after the flood.
Oh, really?
Isn't that correct? Because that's when,
Yeah, I don't know.
I believe that's when God separated man and animals and put the fear of man in the animals as post-flood. I have to look that up and make sure. I kind of getting my chapters confused up here. But
Well, I'll tell you this.
What?
There were some guys hunting some turkeys.
That's what I say. Michael put the fear in the
He
turkeys.
put the fear, he put the fear in them.
We put the fear in some turkeys. We didn't want to put the fear in
With
also.
your box
so-
call, or how'd you put the fear in
No,
them?
with his hooter. I heard him a million times while he's editing over here.
Dude. Turkey hunting, editing turkey hunting is hard because it goes from real quiet to real loud,
Yeah.
back to real quiet, real quick.
Yeah. They're loud animals.
Yeah.
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 Fellas, y'all did the camp out thing.
We did.
What'd you think, Eric?
It was awesome.
Was it?
Nice, cool weather. You know, camping under the stars.
How cold did it get?
It was like mid 40s,
low
probably.
40s one morning, and that
Okay.
was a real cold morning.
Me and KC camped in the tent one time when it was 19.
That
in
does
Iowa.
not sound
In
fun.
Iowa.
Yeah. And then that
We
morning,
were shed hunting and doing it, man.
Oh,
Full
man.
circle.
Didn't find a single shed in 3 days.
Oh,
The only
boy.
circle was the big, large, the
Walking
millions. It was a walking circle.
Walking all those circles around.
Yeah.
We found some cool country, though. You know, that's back when we appreciated the scenery. You know what I mean? Now I don't really appreciate
See.
it that much anymore.
See, we talking about some stuff we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's right.
We was taking pictures of creeks and stuff. You
Yeah.
know? Oh, look at that creek,
Look at
man.
there.
That's cool.
Eric, did you get to shower while you were there?
Did not.
Man,
I did one night. I washed my arms and feet.
What was worse?
You didn't have Michael wash your feet?
Nah.
Come on now.
Hey
I
man,
ain't
if
watching
you're,
no man's
if you're
feet.
practicing believers, come on,
Come
man.
on now. Wash each other's feet.
It's okay.
The what's worse, Eric? You not showering or being there when Michael's not showering?
I know the answer for
This is a
that.
setup. Don't answer.
I know the answer
Don't
for
answer.
sure.
I mean, the obvious answer, but for whatever reason, maybe it's just I'm used to Michael. I just didn't notice it at all this trip. But
Yeah,
Dude, I wasn't
Golly.
smelly. I wasn't smelly at
because
all.
he's wearing that
was passive
merino
aggressive.
from First Light over there.
It's because all the
Hey.
energy was going to the turkey.
That's right,
And not to
dude.
the stink.
The pheromones. The pheromones. Listen, I will say this. Merino is legit. When
Yeah.
it comes
Yeah, it
to
is.
like I've hunted 8 days in merino without really smelling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like especially when you're talking about, I'm wearing merino up top, so armpits mainly, right? Like I've been on an 8-day hunt where I did not shower
Hey,
and had that happen.
Those merino underwear are the same way. I love those things.
I do too.
Now, in hot
too.
weather, they're not the greatest because they don't wick. But like, if you're talking about elk hunting or deer hunting, like
Yeah.
you wear the same set the whole time. I don't feel like you're like a super smelly dude though.
Yeah, I don't think I am either. I didn't want to say it, but
Yeah.
I don't think I'm a smelly guy.
But I am. I'm like nasty.
Are you?
Yes.
Man, you must take pretty good care of yourself.
Well, I'd shower like at least once a day, maybe twice.
yeah.
But I sweat so much. You know,
Yeah.
I've always been a sweaty guy. So one of the things I notice is that with merino, I have to kind of keep in mind what type of deodorant I'm wearing. Because if I'm using something that's kind of a cakey type deodorant, it'll get all nasty in the armpit. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
So you got to use like something that's not
You got to
very
shave them
cakey.
pits, dude. Come on now.
I used to.
Did you
Back-
really?
Oh, I didn't shave them.
I have never shaved
I
an
buzzed 'em.
arm, a leg, or a pit,
Dude,
man.
you'd be surprised how good your arms look when you shave them down.
You look muscly?
Yeah,
Because
buddy.
them veins show?
Yeah, buddy.
Is that what Cam Haynes does? He shaves, doesn't he?
I think he probably waxes.
Oh, come on now. Come on now. There you go. Hey, that's what them guys be doing, man.
You
I
ever,
didn't even know it.
You ever taken the Nair Dare?
No, but I've seen it and wanted to do something with it. I'm just like, I can't bring myself to do it.
I had some buddies that put Nair on their heads, in high school, and they said it was a mistake because it burns.
I bet.
That's what I do it every day. You ever seen my head?
Yeah.
It looks like it's nair on there all the time.
Yeah, pull your hat off.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Nair hair.
Call-
Hey, guys.
Call
nair
me
hair.
Dwight Yoakam Jr. around here.
DWJ.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Couple things before we get more into this turkey story. Greg Latham has killed a Texas turkey on
Big-
the Element channel.
Big brush.
Go watch that if you hadn't. It does have a big old beard on it. Pretty cool bird. And it's just a good old turkey hunt. And then another thing, the Element has a video on Meat Eater where I shoot a pig and turn him into sausage, and we have some of that sausage on the trip with us for this turkey hunt.
Listen, I got to say something here.
Tell me about it.
At what point does that pig go from a pig to a sausage? Because you said you turned him into sausage.
I think it would be whenever you grind it and add in the spices.
You think?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I think that's what makes
Because we've talked about
sausage.
this before. If you ever have watched our buck truck series and you watched the Nebraska video, we double. First hunt out of the gate, we double for that buck truck series. And we're like way back in the backcountry. Eric and Michael come toting bags and pizza up in there, and we just have a good night. We're sitting under the stars. There's not much wind, beautiful weather. And you just don't want to leave that moment, you know?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, when you start breaking the deer down, you've talked about this before, and I've had to think about it. But the deer kind of doesn't. It fails to be a deer anymore, right?
Uh-huh.
Like it becomes meat. But at what point is that? Like for me, it's when I start breaking it down. But for game laws, a lot of times it's not that way.
I think it's when the head parts ways with the rest of the meat.
Yeah.
Like with a deer, especially, I still feel like I got the deer when I got the head.
Yeah, yeah.
But when I go home and put like the head in the freezer or take it to taxidermist or whatever, and the meat's somewhere else, then it's like that ain't the deer anymore.
What about turkey?
I mean, as soon as you start cutting him up, he feels like
That's
he
meat.
ain't nothing, ain't a
Yeah.
turkey no more. But
I
it
think
is
that's right.
weird because when you take the breasts off a turkey and you take the legs off a turkey, you're still left with what looks like a turkey laying there.
Yeah. It's like,
kinda
man, if I
strange.
put some hay inside of that thing and zipped him up, he'd probably be a pretty cool mount.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
that's what the first Indian did to decoy him in a turkey. He's like, you know what? I made that turkey look like it's alive, but other turkey come over here.
Mm-hmm.
And it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys, turkey season is in full swing right now, and if you are planning on getting after it, make sure to pick up some Meat Eater Phelps turkey calls to stuff into the old turkey vest or into your fanny pack right now. I carry a few different things. I like to use mouth calls, and I like to use pot calls. Mouth calls or diaphragms, I like them because it gives you hand-free calling, meaning when you're working a bird up close, you can have your gun on your knee, finger on the trigger, ready to roll, and still be making turkey sounds. I like pot calls. I just like pot calls. I enjoy calling with a pot call. Whatever direction you go, including a box call, which I don't personally use too much, but they're fun and great, and I started out with them. Yanni, on the other hand, one of my main turkey hunting buddies, he loves box calls. And what's funny is I'll now and then look to him and give him the look that means get out your box call and find us a turkey. So it's not that I don't like them. I just have Yanni use his. Then I don't have to carry it. Go to Phelps Game Calls. Get calls that are made in the USA and get calls that'll get them close. Find yours at phelpsgamecalls.com today.
So anyway, just a thought I had to interject there.
Michael,
Yes.
what's the rule in Iowa? How do you have to keep a leg attached, or what do you got to do?
Yeah, you just got to have proof of sex with the meat. So I just left a leg with a spur attached to the leg.
Does a spur count? So there's no such thing as a spurred hen, right?
I don't think so.
There's bearded hens,
Yeah.
and that's why the beard doesn't really count as proof of sex.
Uh-huh.
Well, it does in the spring, right?
Well, it doesn't count as proof of sex, but it just counts. I mean, you can shoot bearded hens.
But that's because you can't shoot hens. So
Yes.
technically, it's proof that. Here we go.
But it's not proof of sex.
It's no, but it is.
It's proof of
It's-
that you're qualifying your license.
That's-
However,
yeah.
again, this is not the Element Legal Advice
No, but
podcast.
it's not worded correctly.
Check your local regulations.
It's not worded correctly,
Oh,
you know what I
believe
mean?
me, Greg and I were talking about the wording of things a while ago. You can't trust nobody. Your best bet is to just get it to the house and
Listen,
eat it.
y'all just got to pass it to see what's in it, man.
That's it. That's
I'm gonna
exactly
say that
right.
every podcast.
So, Michael,
Casey.
you had a short season, or shark season, as they say in Iowa.
Dude, I was listening to video, one of my interviews, literally a couple minutes ago, and I said that, and I was sitting there like, oh no, I can't let Casey hear this.
That's you, man.
Yeah.
What was your essential tactic going into this thing, going to a new state that you've never been to before, right?
Nope.
You never turkey hunted for sure, and you have kind of a short season to work with early, and also you decided you're going to hunt public land. So, like, how do you make all that stuff fit together?
Basically, my thought going into the entire thing was just cover as much ground, and then when you find a bird that either, is on public or wants to do the thing, just not be afraid to mess the whole, like, just go be aggressive, because you can find another bird. At the end of the day, it's a turkey. They're going to gobble in the morning. They're going to gobble in the evening. You're going to have another chance. So just being aggressive when you do get the chance and just covering as much ground as you can until you find a pocket that's away from people pretty much.
So you have made the statement in the past that easterns of the turkey subspecies, being eastern Osceola, Merriam's, and Rio Grande, that most people know of. There's also Goulds and there's Ocellated, but we're not going to talk about them. But of the 4 major subspecies of turkeys, you stated that easterns are the best. Do you still stand by that statement? Yes or no?
Yes,
Okay.
turkey-wise. Turkey-wise. I think Merriam's live in the coolest places, so they could have
That's fine.
a chance at the title, you know?
So can you back that statement up with your experiences recently and throughout your life? Tell us why easterns are the best.
Oh, I think Easterns are the best just because I grew up hunting them, so I think there's a little bit of nostalgia there. But they're the biggest bird, and when they get to gobbling, it's a different animal. The first time we stepped out of the truck and heard a gobble, it was like, oh boy, we are for sure in Eastern country, because we've been hunting Rios and we hunted Osceolas, and there's for sure a difference when you start hearing the birds gobble. And
So it's all
I don't
about
know.
the gobble, you're saying. That's what makes easterns the best.
I think what makes Easterns the best is how big they are. They're
Okay.
just the biggest birds.
So how do they sound different than a Rio?
It's just got like more
It's deeper.
bass in it
Yeah.
almost.
Do you think it's because they just have a bigger echo chamber?
I
in
think
their,
so, yeah.
Their gullet or whatever it's
Yeah, I
called
think
right
so.
there?
So just a bigger. The call has bigger body to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you hear birds gobble morning and evening?
Oh yeah, we heard a lot more in the mornings, but they were doing the thing in the evening. It just kind of was more bird specific in the evening.
Yeah. So you and I hunted Osceolas together, and you've turkey hunted a lot in your life, even though your life is a lot shorter than mine at this point in time. You probably turkey hunted way more than I have. And I'm starting to figure some things out. We were bouncing some stuff off of one another, and I made the statement that, and I don't want to offend any turkey hunters, all right? But if you wanted to boil it down to simplicity, turkey hunting is getting within 200 yards of a gobbler without him knowing you're there and calling to him.
Yep.
Do you feel like that's how it works?
Yeah, I do for sure. Well, that was pretty much our entire plan all week, was just get to 200 and then trust the call and just trust that he's going to come on a rope eventually.
Eric,
Yep,
do you trust the call?
I do.
Yeah. Did you call or did Michael call?
Don't kidding me. Let Michael do it.
Did you? You're a pretty good caller.
I did the box call a few times.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Yeah, when it's time to get the box out, it's Eric. Like, I tried to do the box call, and it doesn't sound the same.
Yeah.
I do think there's a thing with over calling though, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that that's something that turkey hunters suffer from, or do you just see it situationally?
I think newer turkey hunters probably do it
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Gotcha.
Dude, the first time you let a yelp go and there's a gobble right on the backside of it, you're like, oh, I want that all the time. Like, I just want to keep calling.
Mm-hmm.
But me and Eric were kind of talking the entire trip, and I heard Waddell one time say, do you want to be a turkey hunter or do you want to be a turkey caller? And that's pretty much was just in my brain the entire time. Like, I love turkey calling, but I want to shoot a turkey. Like,
See,
I'm not going to sit there and call just because I like it.
I kind of agree with what he's saying there. I understand it. But if that is the case, I think I could kill more turkeys bushwhacking than I could calling and setting up.
For sure.
So I don't
You
know.
do?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I could just slip around and shoot turkeys at 60 yards with shotguns and just kill a bunch of turkeys.
Man, I feel like it would be hard to get within 60.
I think
Growing up, that's the only way I kill them.
I think it just depends on how much vegetation's around,
Yeah,
which is
that's
something
probably
we
right.
ran into. It's like when we were hunting in Texas, it kind of got our, like, how close we could get to a bird was very different than in Iowa, because there was not a leaf on the tree in Iowa, so it was just wide open timber.
Yep. I feel like if you give me a rifle, I mean, yeah, bushwhacking, but I don't know. I feel like getting in shotgun range might be kind of tough. It depending, like Mike said, on the vegetation.
Yeah. Could you have killed that bird that you came around the corner 35 yards on in Texas the other day?
I can't remember which one that was.
It was the one that we kind of messed up right before you killed.
Could I have killed him?
Yeah.
Maybe. He was coming through brush. I just could see a silhouette. But, I mean, we weren't walking around.
Yeah.
We were calling him to us.
Michael,
Yep.
did y'all locate birds the first night you got there?
We did not. We got there. We tried. That was the plan, but we decided to go make sure camp was all ready. There's a thing when you're going across states and just like you got a camp where it's like, well, I picked a campground out on the map, and it turns out that one's closed. So we had to make a new plan, get to a different campground, and I was like, at that point, I was like, we got to make sure we have a place to stay.
Y'all stopped at every Casey's you could on the way to
We did, man.
Oh my goodness!
How many of those fudge bars did you eat?
Eric ate
I
16.
don't- No, well, I got the minis one time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the minis.
That's nice.
It's many, M-A-N-Y. There's many of them in that box.
That's right, man. That's right. So, from there, just tell us the story, man.
So we got to camp the first night, and it's a state park, but it's not a very big one. So it's just surrounded by a bunch of private, and we're setting the Palomino up, and it's just like, go, 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 go. There's just a bird in the river bottom just absolutely losing his mind. So we're like, me and Eric are freaking out trying to get this Palomino set up and ready to sleep in tonight while we still got a little bit of light and burn over to public. And by the time we got over to public, it was too late. The birds weren't gobbling anymore. And so that pretty much put us behind the 8 ball for the opening morning. It
Was it too far, or was it farther than you thought to get there? Or how come you were late?
it just pulling the Palomino. I think we had to go a little slower than
No, I mean
was
like
anticipated.
in the morning once you went hunting.
Oh, in the morning we were pretty on time. In the morning, it was just I
I
didn't
get
know
what you're
where
saying.
birds were. So
Sorry, I thought you were saying when you slept in, you went the next morning, got
No.
in too late. So y'all went to the public,
yeah,
and they were roosted, and it was too late.
Yeah, that
I got
night
you.
we tried to go find some birds on the roost, but it was pretty much dark.
Yeah.
So they weren't gobbling anymore.
You saw Ted from the Hunting Public, right?
No,
Yeah.
that was
Oh.
just a
Like 80
random,
times.
just a random guy.
Oh,
But that was
gotcha.
kind of a running
It kind of
joke.
looks like a random guy.
That was kind of just a running joke with me and Eric while we were in Iowa.
Yeah, there's Ted.
Yeah.
Oh, Ted's right there.
Rent-free, dog.
Theodore.
Rent-free.
That's right. Theodore.
So the first morning you couldn't find birds?
The first morning we
well.
we went to a pin that Tyler had sent me that you guys
You
had
had
hunted.
birds pinned?
Well,
Golly,
not
dude.
a bird pin.
I didn't know that was legal.
No.
10 birds.
Tyler sent me a pin a couple months ago, and we went there right off the bat because it was like there's a really good bowl, and it leads down into some pretty nasty bottom stuff that turkeys probably hang out in. And so we went over there, truck in the parking lot. So it's like,
yay.
oh boy.
Kind of on which, where was, the truck was in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like there wasn't a parking lot.
there's not a
there.
parking lot. He
Okay.
parked where we were parking
Okay.
when we
Yeah,
went.
right across from the.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah. So we immediately realized there's going to be some pressure around. It's not
Yeah.
just going to be a walk in the park. And so we pretty much just went and found a parking lot without a bird in it, or without a person in it. And immediately we stepped out of the car and it was like, go, 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 go. And
Those are gobbles in case
those
y'all
are, yeah, come on. Those are
not
gobbles.
crows.
And after you kind of like whittle down which ones are on public and which ones are on private, it left us with like, I think 2 birds. So we circle on a ridge and he just goes quiet on us. And
Think he saw you?
there's a chance. There's definitely a chance, but
2 birds stoned.
get
Yeah,
2
one.
birds stoned at once. I think he kind of, because the next, spoiler a little bit, but we had a little bit of an encounter with him the next morning. So I kind of think he just worked down the ridge
How do you know it's
He
the
had,
same bird?
he had a routine for sure.
because
Because Easterns are easy, they're patternable.
Dude, I don't
No.
know about all this.
there was a bird roosting in the
These
same
tur-
spot.
My
Doing
good
the same
friend
thing.
Rios don't do that.
Parker McDonald, okay? I love Parker to death. But he'll talk about how he's been after the same bird for 3 weeks. I'm like, dude, there's more than one turkey in them woods.
I don't know, dude.
But maybe there's a thing that I don't
It's
know.
like an elk, dude. When you're a crazy good turkey hunter like he is, you just know their gobble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know this bird's gobble.
Is that a
but
thing? Do they make a little
I
different
think
sound?
I think some of them can, but I think
some can,
overall they sound a little more close
Well,
than
the one
maybe
you
an
killed
elk.
in New Mexico last year, he kind of had like a weak ending to his gobble.
Yeah,
You
had a
remember
little
that?
whistle
Yeah.
at the end of it, but you had to be pretty close to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
I don't even know where I was.
But
you were
tell
talking about how you had potentially spooked that bird walking in the morning, but he
Yeah,
kind of
I
got quiet on
think
you.
I think what happened was he worked down the ridge a little further than I anticipated, and there were other birds just losing their minds. So we pretty much just chased gobbles, and when you start chasing gobbles, especially on public, I feel like probably small private too, but you usually just end up behind the 8 ball kind of all day. You're just like chasing birds and they'll move off into private and you can't really get in front of them, and it's never a really good recipe, just kind of chasing gobbles.
Yeah,
But
Are you a big billiards guy?
am I a big billiards guy?
Yeah. Said it
No.
twice.
You sit behind the 8 ball twice, and I feel like
Well-
if you're going to say it twice, you need to explain what you mean.
I don't know if this is even the way to use the saying, but I'm just saying we were kind of just behind the game all morning.
So
we were,
I would think that behind the 8 ball means that you need to sink the 6 of stripes, and your cue ball has an 8 ball between you and the 6 of
Listen,
stripes.
sometimes you just think at a much
But
higher level.
I
than
think
we
that
can
is
see.
the correct way to use it. As in, behind the 8 ball means you're at a disadvantage
Yeah.
of where you would be otherwise
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
billiards table.
Yeah, yeah, what he said.
Yeah.
So we pretty much just chased gobbles, and then it got to the time of the day where the wind got too high, and man, at that point, it's kind of just depressing when you're turkey hunting. Like, we're in Iowa just to turkey hunt, so we're going to be turkey hunting, but it's just checking every single drainage, every bowl, and just trying to strike a bird up. And I don't think
Pretty
we
much
are-
every day they stop talking at like 10 too. Like
and so y'all
11.
are never able to strike one.
We striked one at like 10:30 one time.
But other than that, between then and roost, y'all didn't strike any
yeah,
birds.
no.
Nope.
That gives me confidence in my game plan this week.
Well,
Of napping the rat.
Still working, but yeah, like not being out chasing turkeys.
what we found was at like the afternoon time, you need to just be driving roads, checking
Yeah.
fields, because they're out showing off.
We would see them on the side, like in low spots, like you're coming down a hill. We'd see them just right off the road at the like a bottom of a hill, and they would always look like dazed and like they had just woke up.
It was like we're hunting public land, so you're thinking, hey, I just need to outwork everybody else. But when you drive the roads, like to and from camp, and you see a gob just 5 yards off the road, like probably 5 times, it's like, oh my goodness.
Man,
now, is that
we're
because
doing
their
the wrong
minds just
thing.
work different than deer? Or like, why is it? Because deer, you're just not
I
going
think
to
it's just
see
the
the big
rut,
buck
dude.
that way.
It's just the rut.
I think they're just pushing hens down
Yeah.
into a little hole, and
Yeah.
that's where the holes are, where they can get away from turkeys
Yeah.
off the roads.
I feel like when you talk about public land turkey hunting, I grew up doing a lot of public land duck hunting, and I feel like it's similar. You don't really hunt ducks in the afternoons a lot of times, like as far as traditionally speaking goes, but you would hunt them in the morning. So you go in, and on public, the idea is not necessarily to work harder than other people, even though you're going to end up working pretty hard a lot of times, but it's to get up earlier. You know what I mean? And that's where, like, well, if the birds are going to be 5 yards off the road, that's all good and well. But if there's a dude parked there that morning, then you can't go in there, or you could and just hope he went a different direction. But you know what I mean? So I think it's more about, like, it's kind of saving your energy, making sure that, like, your afternoons don't just burn you out, right? And your evenings, like, maybe make some food before you go out to get after the, hoot owl call and trying to make them gobble on the roost. And then as soon as you get done roosting them, eat and go to bed and get ready to get up early. And that's kind of where you put in the work, probably,
We pretty much got to the point now, towards the end of the trip, it changes a little bit because it's like we got to make something happen. But the beginning of the trip, it was kind of like we're going to hunt really hard until like 2 or 3. And then at 2 or 3, we're going to go back to the Palomino and just kind of chill until like 5 or 6, and then go try to find birds.
What changed? Was it just that you got through like 2 days of a 4-day hunt and you're like, oh man,
Got to make something
we
happen.
got to do the thing?
Yeah, just got to make something happen at that point.
So get us to like the kill morning, because Michael, for everyone listening, is a great dude, and he doesn't communicate very good. So
For sure.
if you text him while he's on a hunt, he's not going to answer you unless he has good news.
I'm thankful you killed a bird, because you're getting railed on in this podcast.
No, he's right, because you guys both.
I texted him that night and said, "How you feeling?" And then this is crickets.
He's asleep.
He's just laying there, Mad Mike, just staring at the ceiling.
I was listen. I almost texted you that night.
That's
and
nice.
we just like it was almost like you asked how I was feeling. I was like, well, it just depends on how you feel about a bird doing the same thing twice. So that, I mean, the first 3 days.
Thank you for the answer.
The first 3 days were pretty much have a bird roosted, feel like we're in a really good situation, and then some circumstance happens, like bird goes on to private, or
Ted came in and shot your bird.
Yeah, one morning we made a big elaborate plan to get behind this bird, be in between him and the private, which is the way we thought he was going to work, and some dude just came in off the road, did the easy thing, shot the bird. So It's like, well,
sounds easy.
I feel like we're just overthinking this.
That's
at
what
this
I want
point.
to do.
Yeah,
And
so what's our goal right now, actually?
so the last evening we were in Iowa, we had just gone and done a decoy set up on a big field midday just to try to attract a bird, and it got to the point where me and Eric were both just sitting there like, man, this is dumb. Like, what are we doing up here? This is just a waste of time. So it was probably like 5:30, 6 o'clock, something like that, and we walked the 3/4 of a mile walk back to the truck and got in the truck and went and drove, and we get to this like big opening, big bottom area in between where all the timber is, and we're driving and a hen is going over the hill at like 100 yards, and we're like, that's weird. Me and Eric are just kind of sitting there with the binos up watching her, and just for fun I look out to the right and there's a bird at like 250 yards just full strut, just
She's going to him?
clear as day. She's going to him. There's like 2 or 3 more hens down there with him, and he's just acting like the big dog.
Top dog, huh?
Just 200 yards off the road on public.
Just showing off.
And so, long story short, this is the last evening we're in Iowa, and I tell Eric, we're going to go run this turkey down, which, if anybody knows anything about turkey, is not usually a very good idea. of terrain to work with. So, and he was full strut going the other direction when we saw him. So I was like, right now we can go and cut like 150 yards off of it. And we like almost run down in there once we get over the hill, and he's nowhere to be found. We're like just easing around, and finally we pick him up back another 300 yards, just following his hen away. So at that point, it's like we're just going to punt on the evening. We're not going to get to him, and we're just going to kind of watch him. We can see if he goes 500 yards to the east, we can see him. If he goes 500 yards to the west, we can see him. So we feel pretty good about the next morning, just getting a good setup on him. And we're kind of sitting there watching him, and he just like turns and is in full strut and just runs across the field. And I look at at a point of a swamp that's down there at the bottom, and there's another turkey with like 10 hens, and he's just full strut. So they just like the turkeys come together and have a standoff, and then it gets so late that like all the birds just kind of scattered in the area.
Now, when you say standoff, you mean like they stuck their heads up in there and did the like back and forth?
Well, they were
thing?
just full strut at like 10 yards, like just
strutting,
circling around each other. And we didn't see where they roosted, but we went and I don't remember what we did. We went and tried to find another bird to hunt or something.
Before this evening, we had saw a giant bird, same spot, strutting under this tree out there. This was like the day before. Or
no, that was
like
the same morning.
Was it?
It was like 10 a.m. that morning. I forgot about that.
And so the gobs were like hanging out in this one area during the day pretty much, and the hens would just run down the hills towards them.
Dude, we watched so many hens just file out to this one bird sitting under a cedar tree. It was ridiculous. I've always heard that that's what goes on in nature, but I've never been able to sit there and watch it happen. But like he was out there full strut for probably 15 minutes, and there were 5 hens on their way to him.
Weird.
We went and tried to check some other spots and find other birds just to have options, and came back when it was dark enough for them to be roosted in the tree and owl hoot, and it's like there's 4 or 5 gobs along the tree line. There's birds everywhere pretty much. So we plan on the next morning. It's not a very bad, like we walk a 2-track all the way in. It's not a very bad walk, but it's kind of far. So we planned on waking up real early, getting in the dark, and going and setting up like pretty much under the cedar tree we saw him at. I don't want to say we did the deer hunting thing, but we kind of did the deer hunting thing on the turkey and just go and get in the middle of as many deer as you can find pretty much.
So you saw him the night before go past the cedar tree.
We saw him hang out under a cedar tree all day pretty much. Every time we'd go and check back in on him, he was by that cedar tree, like within 100 yards, I'd say. So we felt pretty confident in just going and setting up in the morning under that cedar tree. It was our last day. I knew it was going to be windy.
How far were you from when you were seeing him do this?
How far were we?
Yeah.
So we were it was like 1,000 yards.
Yeah, it was probably 1,000 yards.
So
wow.
Did you mark the cedar on X?
Uh-huh. Yep.
And did it take you some time to figure out? It was like several cedars,
dude,
or was it just one?
It was one of the hardest map marks I've ever done in my life.
How'd
it's just
you do it?
There's just cedars kind of splotchy everywhere. But I pretty much just worked like I did the directional. I don't know what it's called. The directional. You double click.
It shows you which direction
button.
you're facing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And pretty much made a mark at like the tree line where I thought straight ahead was, and then just worked down and counted cedars and found. I think I was a cedar tree off, but that was only like 5 yards.
Yeah.
So got a pretty good idea of where it was, and just made a big loop the next morning to set up with a decoy like within the vicinity of that cedar tree, because we knew it was going to be windy, and we knew eventually there's going to be a tom that works his way out into this field and sees the decoy from however far and then closes the distance. Just because we ended up seeing 3 toms that night before. So we knew there were going to be birds just circulating. We saw a bunch of hens. So our plan the next morning was just to go and sit in and do the boring thing, not cover any ground, and just let the Dave Smith work.
How'd you know there weren't going to be a dude right there?
because all week we had a pocket where there would be hunters all around us.
More with the pool talk here. Pockets,
Dude, I'm
A-balls.
telling you, billiards man, maybe. But we had a pocket where we felt there was one car. We had probably 6 parking lots. There was one car there one morning in all of those parking lots. Other than that, we had nobody in our little bubble there.
How far did you have to walk in?
I think it was
6'10".
6'10" or something like that.
Is that further than you think most guys are walking in?
So I have a theory that I told Michael this, that guys were going to parking lots and calling, and when you do that, you get on, like, the birds are near the parking lot, so you're getting on birds.
Yeah.
I bet that's what a lot of hunters are doing, is they get to these parking lots, they call, they hear gobbles, and they just go after those birds, and that's their hunt, where we just found a spot where people aren't parking and calling to,
Yeah.
and it's just a little bit off the road.
I like what you're saying. So
Yeah.
instead of taking the easy bird that probably has figured out to go the other direction already in its life,
Yeah.
Yep.
you like just bushwhack a long ways back in and then call from there.
Yeah.
And then you're in a different place than they're used to hearing humans, or maybe they don't even think that deeply about it. But for some reason, it's different because you're not like at
Yep.
the entrance.
No, we saw that on just parking in random places on the road.
Yeah.
Like if you're not parked from the parking lot, they'll shot gobble a lot easier.
Huh.
Yeah.
Eric, have you ever hunted with somebody who called from the truck a bunch?
I did. Me and Bostic. But it actually worked for us. So,
Yeah, well, that was private.
Private land in Texas where there's
To
a
be
whole bunch of
fair,
Rios.
I also did call from the truck one time this week, but
Hey,
it was because there was
I
a
don't
turkey
blame
roosted at like 25 yards eye level with us.
But I mean, they would gobble too. Like,
Yeah.
they're all right there.
It's
So.
fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to make them do it. So then you go in there and find your cedar in the morning, right?
Yep. So we go in there and it was dark. I could barely see the hen when we set her out, but
And originally we sat up under that cedar, but
that's right, we did. But
Too many ticks.
for some reason, it wasn't going to work for us. I don't remember what it was. Eric didn't like it for filming or
You
something.
listened
no,
to
I
him?
said
Oh, it was because we wouldn't have much pre-roll from the direction we thought. the bird was
no. I
gonna come
thought
from.
we wouldn't be able to. If they were coming down the lane, we wouldn't be able to see them.
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah. So we made an adjustment back into the tree line, which honestly was the better cedar to be in either way. We were going to have the sun behind us. I mean, it was pretty good. And we're like, I think you were sat up like normal, but I was pretty much on my back underneath this cedar tree, just trying to get as low and as small as possible. And we're sitting there kind of half asleep, and there's just there's probably 3 or 4 birds at like 500 yards gobbling, and then a bird like gobbles. It sounded like it was on our head, and I heard it out in front of us, and I asked Eric, but Eric was monitoring audio. I know you guys probably don't believe that,
Yeah,
but
no.
Eric was monitoring
If there's
audio.
anybody I believe it about, it's him.
Yeah,
That's
for sure. He was monitoring
anybody's gonna
audio, so he couldn't figure out where it came from. And so I did the line distance on X to the closest clump of trees right in front of us, and it was like 350 yards. And I was sitting there, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no way that bird was at 350 yards with 20-mile-an-hour winds. And we're just sitting there. I think I do like a one yelp, just cadence, and then just shut up. And never hear that close bird again. But there's birds gobbling all around us, so we feel pretty good. And, I mean, it was
6:45ish probably.
6:45. Like, it felt pretty bright out, and we just hear a bird fly down. And I don't know, a second after I heard that, Eric just goes, there's a bird running at us right now. He's like, there's a bird running at the decoy right now. And I was like, is it, like, asked if it's a tom, and Eric couldn't tell because he's trying to get the camera on it and everything. And about that time, I see the bird, and I just see a rope on the front of the bird. And I'm like, I say, like, what did I say? Because
I don't know, 'cause-
I confused you.
Yeah, I was like, did you say it was a Jake? Like, I couldn't hear what you said.
He thought I said it was a Jake. I think I said I'm going to let him come closer or something.
I'm
And,
going to take him.
and
This is going to be cake.
he said, it's,
Get it
it's
on the first take.
golly.
Oh, he's doing the shake and bake.
He said, "It's a
What do you
Jake,"
think?
and I said, "No, I'm shooting him." And I mean, the bird takes probably another 10 yards and steps into my gap. And in that moment, I'm sitting there like, I should probably let this bird do the thing. And then another voice in my head said, just shoot him. So I asked Eric if he's on him, and I mean, put it on his head and blasted him.
He wasn't very close.
That's it. He was probably 15 yards.
Oh, baby.
So how far was he when you hit the ground, do you think?
Probably
30, 40, I bet.
He was close. Like, I was going to say 50.
So when you saw him running, he was 30 yards?
Yeah, probably between 30 and 40.
Golly.
And then he slowed down and walked in?
Yeah, once he
Yeah.
got closer, he was kind of bobbing his head at the decoy, you know.
So do you think that he shut up because he saw the decoy?
I think he either shut up because he heard the decoy or saw the decoy or heard me call, and there's so much competition in the area where he's just like, I'm not going to gobble. I know I have a hen right there,
Yeah.
and I'm just going to beeline for her right when I hit the ground.
I wondered, this was a big mature tom, right? Like big bird.
Yeah.
How long was Spurs?
Big bird.
Probably an inch.
Okay, so like not like super old, but a mature tom.
Yeah.
I kind of always wonder if they aren't. There's two things. Maybe they're getting beat up on, and so they're not very talkative in the mornings. And then two, it almost seems like there's a potential case that a big old tom doesn't gobble as much off the roost
Yeah.
like an older bird doesn't. Do you think that's the case?
I think there's a chance for sure. I haven't had as much experience with really old toms as I probably should.
Dude,
but
I probably don't even need to worry about this kind of stuff because I'm shooting probably the first tom turkey I get a chance anywhere we go.
Exactly.
Sometimes I might pass a Jake or something, you know, but I shot a Jake already this year. You know, like I'm excited to shoot turkeys, so it doesn't really matter. But I find like the differences in animals interesting, even if I'm not going to use them to my advantage.
Oh, yeah,
you know
for
what I mean?
sure.
So I think it's neat that y'all were set up on a bird that was doing different stuff than what all the other ones were doing.
Yep.
And you killed him. It almost makes me wonder if you can figure out where a not talkative bird is, if he's real killable because nobody else is going over and mess with him.
I think he is.
And so he's not used to getting molested in the mornings like the turkeys that are just gobbling their heads off.
I definitely think that could be the case. I kind of feel like we were probably messing up a lot more birds than we thought, and they were just coming in silent.
I think that's all turkey hunting.
Yeah, for
I don't
sure.
know that
Yeah.
much about it, but I think that you're spooking a bunch of birds that you don't realize are there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that makes me sad.
Yeah,
Especially
tell
if
me
you
about it.
think about hunting places that don't have as many turkeys. Man, you can't
Yeah.
mess it up.
I know, dude. Like where we might end up some point here
Yeah.
sometime this season soon.
That's right. You know, yeah, that's a weird deal.
Man, we're in some of my favorite country right now,
Yeah,
by the
man.
way.
I love
This is
Just
the
trying to make
worst.
note of that.
Dust Bowl 2.0.
No.
Congrats on the turkey, Michael.
Yeah, dude.
That's your first kill on the Element Channel.
Yeah, it is.
Let's
Let's
go,
go.
dude.
First out-of-state animal. Is that,
And,
Really?
well, no, I killed a Texas antlerless. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
What about that pig?
Oh, I forgot about the pig.
Yeah, dude.
Man.
Yeah, man.
Texas
You're a
style,
killer.
dude.
Thanks,
Texas
Brian.
style. So,
so-
hold on, you're getting close to you're chasing 49 right now, right?
Yeah, dude, we're getting close.
You're getting close.
47 to go.
That's right,
47
dude.
to go. We got
Golly.
Ohio and Iowa down.
Ohio.
good.
Ohio.
It's all one.
Dang, dude, I can't believe it. Michael's been a Texas resident for 2 years and hasn't found a turkey to hunt. in
He
Texas.
hasn't.
Well, I found a turkey.
See, y'all always
We'll
be
see.
doing this thing where y'all round up on these boys. They hadn't been here as long as we think.
Yeah, well,
August 22.
22.
that's how old
That's
you
getting
are.
closer. It's getting closer.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, you're working diligently on that video, correct?
Oh,
Somebody
yeah.
is.
Trying to get it out.
Are you're doing it?
Yep.
Even though Eric filmed it, it's your hunt, so you want to just
Yeah, for sure. I'm
Put
not
your
gonna
stamp
on it,
I'm
dude.
not gonna make Eric watch me.
It's his
again.
first state outside of his home state to go towards his 49, dude.
yeah, that's
on. He's
good,
gotta
dude.
make it right.
47 to go.
That's it.
What's going to be the hardest state?
Florida.
You think?
Yeah, for sure.
If you get on the right place in
Nah.
Florida, I feel like it's cake.
I
yeah,
feel
I think so
like-
too.
I
It's just
also
getting on
feel
the right
like
place.
Yeah,
Killing an
that's-
Osceola makes it harder, but if you're just like, I'm gonna kill a turkey in Florida,
Oh yeah, that's That's a good point.
Because you're not trying to get to slam.
Well,
with
I'm
That-
trying,
that's-
I'm
that's
trying to
it.
do that too.
Yeah.
That's it. There you go. Okay, so with that in mind, what's the hardest state?
Um,
I feel like Utah would
Utah
be hard.
is my-
yeah, the
that's-
West. It's going to be a Western state wherever it is.
California, because they don't allow
I
hunting.
mean,
California, you can't even take a shotgun in there, so
Yeah,
you just
You
bow
gotta-
hunt.
yeah. You have to shoot them with a dart gun.
Air
all
rifle.
those. Arizona, well, Arizona actually maybe not. But
It's catch and release in California.
the California,
that's
Utah, Nevada, because there's just not as much turkey country.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it makes it difficult. But one could say just the state that's furthest away.
North
Yeah.
Dakota.
No,
No doubt.
dude. North Dakota would be sick.
You think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would. Are
Let's
there
go.
a bunch of turkeys up there?
I saw a bunch.
Depends
when I
on
was
where
up
you're
there.
at, I guess.
Yeah.
Got to have some water and trees.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I guess like all the states east of the Mississippi have probably quite a few turkeys, huh?
They are around.
Yeah.
For sure.
Man.
Is Ohio's east of the Mississippi, right?
Uh huh.
Yeah. The Mississippi goes up into Minnesota,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Man, cool
Geography
country,
class.
dude. I'm excited to do a little more turkey hunting this week.
Yeah.
Now that Michael knows everything
Eric,
about him.
what happened after he shot the bird?
The dude lost his mind. It was awesome.
Eric told me, he said, I'll never forget that, dude.
Dude, did you...
What was he doing?
He does this weird like flex thing. He kind of looks like an ape when he does it. You know what I mean?
A very skinny one?
Yeah.
Listen, man.
He does this flex thing, and he's like, "Come on, Eric, come on!" I said, "Come on, Eric, come on, Eric." There's a
Hey, listen,
There's
Michael Waddell don't know what's coming, dude. He's got the next big turkey hunter right here on his heels,
Michael
dude.
Stodell over here.
Michael Stodell.
there's a GoPro clip of he celebrates and he runs back to the GoPro. He just yells in the GoPro. What are you saying? Like, I'm like, "Come on!" we might have to make that a reel this
I
week or
love it,
something.
dude.
That'd be
Sure,
good.
I
When do
love
you
it.
expect this video to come out, Michael?
Next week.
Oh, man.
Dang, so like in the 20s of April.
Be out
Yep.
before my video's out.
Nah, yours is gonna be out first.
Is it?
Yeah, for sure.
You been working on it?
Yeah.
Look at you.
Let's go, dude.
Dang, dude, I'm so proud of
Hey,
you.
if you're not subscribed to the Element channel, you need to be, because that's where every piece of turkey hunting content in the world is right now. It's fixing to
Also,
be.
Come on.
also, if you want, we're trying to get as many deer hunting videos on that channel as possible.
That's right.
We got some stuff that we filmed last year, and you guys are probably privy to this, but just kind of fill in. We also have videos that go out on the Meat Eater YouTube channel, and it can be hard to decipher and understand where everybody wants our videos to land at times, and we want all you guys that have been with us for years and years to get to make sure you get to see some of the deer hunting stuff we've done. The stuff that happened last year that hasn't released yet, there's some awesome stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say this too, real quick, before we get out of here. Me and Casey have been talking a little bit, and
We have to.
we have to. There's this thing that's been around basically since outdoor TV started, and I think that I got a couple of things to kind of throw out here and just let you kind of think about as a listener. So when you go deer hunting and you chase after a big old deer, or you get a shot at a big old deer that surprised you and you didn't know it was in the area, or whatever it might be, that deer hunt is pretty special to you, right? It's probably not quite as special to everybody else, but you want to share that story and you want people to think that's cool. And some people will, and some people won't. So when we put out videos, we want to edit these videos so that when you watch them, you think that was cool. That was like a special deal. Because deer are, and I hate to steal the show from Turkey here, but deer are very unique. They're very separate from one another. They look different.
That's why people are making up subspecies of turkeys so that they can act like they're unique.
exactly right.
Yeah.
So they're making
When
it
they're
up. Dang, dude, you and Mark Kenyon getting close here.
That was KC. Nobody
so-
else agrees.
It's like a Pangea of turkey, man.
Hey, until I see a Miriam's that actually has the white band, I don't. They're all
yeah,
set.
they're
You need
all
to
in
go where I
Nebraska, I
was.
think.
You might see one this week.
No, I don't think so.
We'll see.
But anyway, there's whitetails all look a lot different from each other, or at times they can, right? They have these is mainly in the antlers, right? But these are a special creature, and I think a lot of people listening to this podcast right now would agree, because I know you guys are crazy about deer hunting above pretty much everything else. And with that said, our goal at the Element is to start making these videos instead of doing what may have come through in an outdoor media, outdoor TV wave of content where you put a bunch of kills in videos and you just make it like kind of mindless entertainment. We want this stuff to, like, when you watch it, I want you to feel like, oh man, that makes me feel like I went through that and I deer hunted and it was cool. And I don't know if this is making a whole lot of sense, but I want you to I want it to be almost nostalgic and sentimental when you watch a video so that you feel like you were in the woods and you experienced it, because that's really what we want when we're sitting there watching in the office or, you know, at our house when we're watching TV. It's to feel like we were kind of immersed in that moment and almost like you could feel the cold air around you or whatever, you know? I mean, that's when I can get that from watching a video, a deer hunting video, those are the ones I like. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I want to definitely kind of, we intend to make the deer, like that deer's life, kind of special. You know what I mean? If that means anything to you. So I think it's really cool that we get to chase these things around, that they're unique. They're, you know, created for us to chase and eat and try to figure out. And I don't want to downplay that by just making just cookie cutter over and over again. You know, this is something that we have set out to kind of change and be a part of. It's an advocacy. So anyway, just some thoughts there. Casey, any other wrap-up thoughts?
Man, deer season's a long way away.
It is.
Makes me sad. But that's why I think I'm liking turkey hunting so much, because it really...
Filling the gap.
The Psycho Michael back there's gotten to me a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm kind of into it. I'm pretty excited about it. There's a chance that you and I chase a single season slam this year, and that makes me real happy.
Man, I kind of would rather just catch an 8-pound bass, man.
That's fine. You don't have to go with me, but I'm excited to do it.
But if I do end up shooting a Merriam sometime soon, then I probably will go try to find an Eastern somewhere.
Catching an 8-pounder actually ain't that hard. You just don't need a fish lake fork.
Yeah.
You fish a different lake.
Is that right?
Yeah, I can show you where they're at. We'll catch them.
Got a Camelot Bell or whatever that place is out there west of Fort Worth.
Is that a good spot?
I think it costs you like $1,000 a day to fish.
Does it really that much? Feed train bass and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, highly managed. Yeah. I don't know if they do much feeding, but they you can't keep. I think you can't release a bass that's under like 4 pounds or something.
Yeah, makes sense. That's what I do. Anything under 4 pounds in the creeks. Anyways, I hope y'all are excited about some turkey hunting, because it's been a good time. I like it a lot. We're going to have quite a bit of turkey hunting footage on the Element and the Meat Eater YouTube channels here coming up. And let's go kill some more, guys.
Please, sir.
Remember,
Please.
This is your Element.
Live in it.
Hey guys, turkey season is in full swing right now, and if you are planning on getting after it, make sure to pick up some Meat Eater Phelps turkey calls to stuff into the old turkey vest or into your fanny pack right now. I carry a few different things. I like to use mouth calls, and I like to use pot calls. Mouth calls or diaphragms, I like them because it gives you hand-free calling, meaning when you're working a bird up close, you can have your gun on your knee, finger on the trigger, ready to roll, and still be making turkey sounds. I like pot calls because I just like pot calls. I enjoy calling with a pot call. Whatever direction you go, including a box call, which I don't personally use too much, but they're fun and great, and I started out with them. Yanni, on the other hand, one of my main turkey hunting buddies, he loves box calls. And what's funny is I'll now and then look to him and give him the look that means get out your box call and find us a turkey. So it's not that I don't like them. I just have Yanni use his. Then I don't have to carry it. Go to Phelps Game Calls. Get calls that are made in the USA and get calls that'll get them close. Find yours at phelpsgamecalls.com today.